Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of this wonderful section called English Around the World. Now it's time to talk about this beautiful country, Ireland. Before, let me introduce you the members of this team. We are Natalia Alfaro, Jorge Gonzalez, and me, Leslie Rivera. So let's start with it. What do we know about Ireland? Ireland, now also known as the Emerald Isle, is located in the North Atlantic Ocean in Europe. It's one of the third largest islands just in Europe, not in the whole world. As you can see, there are two Irelands. Well, there are not two Irelands. There's just the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. The Northern Ireland is part of the United Kingdom, but now we're going to focus just on the Republic of Ireland. But in Ireland in general, we have a population of almost 5 million people with an ethnicity of at least 83% of the people are considered Irish people. 9.5% are considered older white people, while the 7.5% are considered Asian and Black people. Yes, in Ireland. The capital is Dublin. But we cannot talk about the country without talking about the flag. So as you can see here, the flag has three colors: the green, the orange, and the white color. The green represents the Irish nationality, like the Catholic population. The orange represents the Protestant population, and the white in the middle represents the lasting peace between these two groups. Okay, it was flown in public for the first time by the leader of the Young Irelander movement in 1848, Thomas Francis Meagher. Okay, but now let's move on to the currency. We have here that the euro has been the currency in circulation in the Republic of Ireland since the beginning of 2002, and it replaced the Irish pound. While on the other side, in Northern Ireland, they use the pound sterling. Yes, because they are part of the United Kingdom. So this is something that you have to take into consideration if you want to travel there, because you have to change your euros into pound sterlings if you want to go to the Northern Ireland. Yes, it's part of it. You have to do it.
Alright, Leslie, that was very impressive and very useful for us. So now I'm going to tell you about the counties of Ireland. The island of Ireland, the massive territory that constitutes Ireland itself, is divided into four provinces: Ulster, Connacht, Leinster, and Munster. Within these four provinces, there are 32 counties. 26 of these make up the Republic of Ireland, while 6 counties in Ulster remain within the United Kingdom. The counties of Ireland do not precisely correspond with its administrative divisions. These divisions are made along county and city council lines. The major differences will be the addition of Dublin, Cork, Waterford, Limerick, and Galway, resulting in the splitting into two counties.
Okay, now let's talk about the type of government. The first thing you must know is that Ireland is a parliamentary democracy. But what does a parliamentary democracy mean, you might ask? Well, it basically means that the power of the whole nation is divided into three parts. First, we have a parliament. Secondly, we have a prime minister. And thirdly, we have a president. Okay, now let's find out what the parliament is. The Parliament, and also the Congress, is the part that is in charge of making laws and setting rules. Then the Prime Minister, that is the head of the government. He or she is elected by the Parliament. So the Prime Minister of Ireland is Micheál Martin. He's basically in charge of internal political duties such as meetings, etc. Then we have the President of Ireland, that is Michael D. Higgins. He's the person that is in charge of representing the whole country. So he's basically the face of the nation.
Okay, people, now it's time to talk about the languages. English and Irish are the two official languages in the Republic of Ireland. Everyone in the island speaks English, but just 1.7% of the population of the 5 million people there speaks Irish, or also known as Gaelic language. This is a Celtic language. Yes, it's Celtic, not Celtic. And one of the oldest and most historic written languages in the world, which still survives into the 21st century. There in Ireland, you can find many signals in the streets written in both languages, English and Irish. But let me present you here some Irish words, like to put in context with this beautiful. Okay, help me please with the pronunciation of these words. Are Irish words. It doesn't matter if you don't know exactly how the word is pronounced. I just want you to try it, okay? So let's start, don't worry about it. The first one is this word. That was a nice try. And it's pronounced Arela, and it means go on. Okay, next one. Yes, that was another good try. And the pronunciation is Tauta, and it means important. Very good. This one is pronounced Luras, and it means toilet. The last one, it's kind of difficult, but don't worry, I don't know how is it pronounced because this word actually doesn't exist. Okay. Also, still talking about languages, we have that English. The English language has some words borrowed from the Irish or Gaelic language. For example, the word slew, that means a large number. Trousers, do you know what trousers are, right? The word galore, plenty or enough. And whiskey with an Irish means water of life, smithereens, and the word body. Not body, body.
So, well guys, now before we continue, I want you to think about the things you think that are the most representative for Ireland. So, what comes to your mind? The first thing that appears in your mind when you hear the word Ireland, Irishmen, Irish people, what does it come from your mind? So, I'll pause the video and think about at least 3 things you may be thinking about. I'll wait for this, so take your time. Pause the video here. Now that you have thought about the things you think Ireland is more representative for, I'm going to tell you what are the things we expected you to think. So first of all, of course, people dress up with green customs will be the first one. A second one, we will have the shamrock, which is very representative. A third one, but not less important, a leprechaun. And in fourth place, we will have the beer, of course. So let's move on to the next topic and we'll see if you were right or not. Okay guys, now we're going to talk about the 4 historical moments, the more important and more representative and significant for Ireland. The first moment is the colonization of Ireland. This was divided into 2 moments. The first one in 1169 marks the Anglo-Norman invasion in Ireland. The second one in 1536 to 1691 marks the first field conquest of the Ireland by England and its colonization. The second historical moment in 1845, it's the Great Famine, also known as the Great Hunger or the Great Starvation. It was a period of mass starvation and disease in Ireland from 1845 to 49. About 1 million people died and 1 million more emigrated. It was a natural event. The potato blight, called the potato blight, infected potato crops throughout Europe. Now we're going to go with our third historical moment is the Independence War of Ireland. In 1919 to 1921, it was marked the period of the independence. After the war that ended up in 1922, the northeast of Ireland saw themselves more British than Ireland. So this ended up in the partition of Ireland as we know it now. the Northern Ireland, which stayed with the United Kingdom, and the Republic of Ireland, which so the first moment would be the Civil War of Ireland. In 1922, after the events of the Independence War of Ireland, there were two opposing groups which remained. The IRA, or also known as the Irish Republican Army, had two groups. The ones who supported the treaty and the ones who didn't support the treaty. The treaty was the Articles of Agreement of a treaty between Britain and Ireland. So this war took a lot of lives throughout the country. However, it ended up in May 24th of the same year.
Okay, now it's time to talk about the climate there in Ireland. The dominant influence on Ireland's climate is the Atlantic Ocean because of course Ireland is located there. Ireland doesn't suffer from the extremes of temperature experienced by many other countries at the same latitude, like Canada for example, because there in Ireland they hardly ever get snow, and as a fact it rains there like almost the whole year with only 2 months of sunshine. That's weird. And they have an average low of 7 Celsius degrees and an average high of 25 Celsius degrees in summer, of course. The abundance of rain allows Ireland to flourish in flora and agriculture, giving it its trademark green color, of course. They cultivate spots that we know as potatoes, sugar beets, and grains like barley, oats, and wheat. And it takes us to the most famous product there in Ireland, which is the beer. Yes, Ireland without beer, it's like Mexico without tacos, Korea without kimchi, or the United States without Disney. Yes, even priests and nuns getting onto the action in the Bible. Remember that the Bible never condemns the alcohol, just drunkenness. So know your limits, guys. And as you can see, we have here some famous Irish dishes like box tea, potato bread, brown soda bread, bacon and cabbage, cuddle, Irish stew, and the black pudding.
Now it's the moment to take your green hat, your green clothes, and put it on, because we're going to talk about St. Patrick's Day. So the St. Patrick's Day is celebrated on March 17th, and it honors and commemorates the life and of St. Patrick. To put it simply and to sum it up, St. Patrick is recognized for having turned every man and woman in Ireland to Christianity. So he converted everyone in Ireland to Christianity. He's also very recognized because of the legend of he taking out or throwing away all the snakes out of the island. Because of the geographical features of Ireland, this might have never happened in the old days. He is also very related with Shamrock, because he used this in order to help the Irish people to understand the idea of the Holy Trinity, which is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So he used the Shamrock as a helper in order to make people understand this concept. He is also related to the green color. That's why people in March 17 dress up with green colors, with hats. Actually you don't have to have like a complete costume, a complete dress. You just have to wear the green thing you have. It can be a scarf, a tie, a hat, a shirt, a t-shirt, and you will be celebrating this magical celebration in a few moments. The people from the United States has the custom of eat potatoes, carrots, beef, and also drinking beer during this celebration. The leprechauns are also a very known creature, also very well related with the Irish people. And I'm not talking about this one, but this one And this one, so how is this it happened? How this the leprechaun turned into this very representative? So in the period of the colonization of the United States, there was a lot of discrimination between the British people and the Irish people. So there were some myths, some legends, some stories which work as a bridge between both cultures, and the leprechaun was a story that was shared from tongue to tongue, and this helped to unify and to identify the people from Ireland with one symbol, which ended up being the leprechaun. Or nowadays, this tradition has spread all over the world, being not only in Ireland but also in the United States, Egypt, France, and it's celebrated with green clothes, parades, um, fireworks, etc., etc., etc.
Okay, it's time to mention three important aspects between Mexico and Ireland. Let's start with the beer culture. To start with, in Mexico, the word beer is more than just beer. It is part of the cultural icon of Mexico's history. To sum up, for many Mexicans, it is almost a custom to enjoy beer at family parties, soccer games, in restaurants, bars, to put it simple, almost everywhere. As well as in Ireland, the Irish has the reputation of a drinking culture. So it basically means that drinking beers plays a huge role in our society, and you can see it in the culture. So many Irish people drink beer just for pleasure, to get relaxed at home, to celebrate with family, to go out with friends, etc.
As another coincidence between two countries that at first sight seem to be very different, like Mexico and Ireland, we have that Catholicism is thing that we have in common too, because almost 80% of the population in both countries are considered Catholic people. Like here in Mexico, they are devoted to their beliefs in saints in the church, and there in Ireland they have Catholic schools, they congregate in masses to celebrate the arrival of the Pope in their country, and they have many celebrations to saints like, for example, Saint Patrick. And also, as another coincidence between two countries, we have found that Mexico and Ireland are considered friendly countries. Why? Irish people have the reputation of being a very friendly and easygoing people. They are polite, enjoy, they make jokes all the time. Timekeeping is not very strict in Ireland. People often arrive from 10 to 15 minutes late, but just for informal meetings, because if you have an appointment with a doctor, you have a job interview, or you have to go to the school, you have to be punctual there, as well as here in Mexico too. They say that you're lucky if you have an Irish friend. Who said that? You? Yes, you're right.
Now, guys, let's talk. We're almost done. We're going to talk about two very important celebrations in which we are going to compare Mexico with Ireland. So we have the Day of the Dead, and we have Samhain. Samhain, as also as it is known nowadays, Halloween. So this celebration started as a pagan tradition in which the 31st and the 31st of October and the 1st of November, it marked the beginning of the equinox of fall. This also marked this beginning of the darker half of the year. As we know, in Ireland it rained mostly all the year, so this means that it was dark during long periods of time. So people used to believe that during this period monstrous creatures from the other world will come hunting us down. So what they do was to make bonfires and dress up as monsters and as fearful creatures in order to scare the monsters, in order to hide from them, in order to protect their lives. Whereas the Day of the Dead, it's actually quite the opposite, being a happy tradition re-encountering with your loved ones, the ones that are no longer here, the ones who pass away. So these Samhain traditions, which comes from this Celts, it has been turned over the years with the arrival of the Date of All the Saints, which was entered in the 8th century, turned its name as All Hallows Eve. At the beginning, it was not recognized as this, but at the end, it turned out to be Halloween. All this has changed through all the years, but the principal tradition, sorry, it was very similar to the Day of the Dead Mexican tradition. However, even though they have and share some similarities, they are not equal, and they have both magical features that can be recognized from one another. So this is all for today, guys. Thank you so much for being here, for hearing us, and for staying till the end. Bye. Take care.